special message and some ideas just for you. Years of experience in working with people who are prone to falls has given St. Barnabas special expertise in this area. Call them at 724-443-0700 and learn about ways that you can begin to feel more confident and safe, including suggestions that you can implement right now into your daily routine. Call St. Barnabas at 724-443-0700. For many years now, St. Barnabas has been helping people fall, in love that is, with their new, better life, a longer life, a risk-free life. Call St. Barnabas now at 724-443-0700 or visit stbarnabashealthsystem.com and learn more about living longer and better.
And now, Patriot Home Care is proud to present the Beaver County Radio Morning Show with Frank Sparks and Scott Tady. Frank and Scott will get you caught up on what's going on in the world with news, sports, and entertainment, along with playing some of your favorite tunes, including Pittsburgh area bands. And now, here are the hosts of the show, Frank Sparks and Scott Tady.
Hey, good morning and welcome in as it is Thursday morning. It is May the 1st, which is May Day, and it's also the first Thursday of the month, which means it's time for Ask the Commissioner, Scott.
I like it.
Yeah.
You have two of the county commissioners joining us, Tony Amadio, and we have our friend Jack Manning.
And here comes Dan
Camp.
On
cue.
There you go. So right there. All right. So we got your seat all set up, and we're ready to rock and roll here on Ask the Commissioners this morning. And the phone lines will be open if you have any questions as well at 724-843-1888 that you can call in and ask the commissioners any question that you might have. And we got a full house, so unfortunately we're going to have to share microphones around a little bit today. But Scott, I'll start out first. So let's get all three commissioners' reaction to Maple Syrup Festival. I heard you guys talking about it yesterday at the commissioners' work session a little bit. So we'll start and just go right around the room. Start with Jack. And so what do you think about the...
Well, I think after a couple of years now coming back that they have their act together, Push did a great job, great coalition of volunteers, a large number of vendors. Waiting to see from tourism the actual numbers. We signed an agreement with the folk that they can track cell phones and really measure the amount of traffic going in and out of there. So I think we'll have some pretty accurate numbers, and just waiting for Tony Caltori to get us those. But I was there for most of Saturday morning into the afternoon, and I thought it was pretty good despite some cold, chilly weather, which is not unusual for the Maple Syrup Festival.
I get that that's why I'm like, every time I'm down there, I get the cold day, and then Sunday, Romai's down there, and he gets the warm day. I'm like,
Yeah, I went Sunday. Saturday, I didn't want to take any chances. I'm still in a healing process, and I wanted to make sure that I didn't pick up any bug. But no, it was very, very successful, especially after you have a break in something, and it's hard to come back. Mm-hmm. But the lines were getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I haven't seen a line like we did a few years ago when it went all the way back, all the way around, and back up around again. But we're getting close. We're getting close. A lot of vendors. I was happy. I enjoyed my day there.
Cool. Dan?
Yeah. Excuse me.
You guys get to snuggle up together.
That's okay. I can't echo what Commissioner Manning said. The work that Push does to put that event on, to bring it back, have that foresight for our community to have another event. What people don't realize is they're going from one event to another within 2 months. And there are two big events with Beaver County Boom and the Maple Syrup Festival. So, we thank them, we congratulate them, and all the volunteers that Commissioner Manning mentioned that were there. Without them, that couldn't be done. So it is a great event. And obviously, with Scott here, I don't know what we're going to talk, but they're turning into a little music festival.
I'm liking that.
Which is a positive, too, that people are starting to come out more to hear the music and stay longer than just stopping to eat pancakes. So it's a good day in Beaver County, a good weekend, and thank you to Push for continuing that rich tradition we have here in Beaver County.
They symbolize that by changing the name to the Beaver County Maple Syrup and Music Festival. So I like that.
And I think, too, you were talking about the lines, Tony. I think that also they have the process process more streamlined now, that they're getting people in and out faster. So I think that's part of why we didn't see the lines. I think Sunday, I was there Sunday too, and the line got pretty decent at one point Sunday, but I think it was
I think
successful.
they're much more efficient in getting people in and out and using the Four Seasons Lodge a little bit, trying to expand and take.
By the way, isn't that a beautiful lodge?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
We just got to figure out
we
got to figure out a way to get people down there to that, because that was one of the Scott and I have talked to some of the music groups that were down there, and that's what they said that was the only complaint they had. It was beautiful and it was nice down there, but the only people that came were their fans that were the ones that that they and it was just find a way to get them down there.
I think specifically, I love volunteers, but DJ Fry and the job that those guys do with the buses, shuttling people. I heard more compliments about the bus drivers were friendly and where are you going and help. DJ just does a terrific job helping out with that as well.
And I really enjoyed the reenactments that took place there. Brought me back to my teaching days.
I'm sure.
I'm
sure.
Civil War reenactors and
All right, Scott's got a grape though, so you want to start with your grape? We can start with Dan and work around the room on it.
Oh yeah, put me in. Well, we were surprised by we wanted a little more Wi-Fi. We were having trouble getting a signal back, and I've heard other people say at Brady's Run Park there's some dead areas. Basically, I don't know, is that something that's being addressed, or as we're talking about getting more connectivity in the county?
Yeah, as as everyone knows, we worked really hard with the broadband project across Beaver County. Brady's Run is a tough area to get a signal. There's a tower just up at the top of the hill here in Brighton Township. For events like that, we do partner with AT&T where they bring a cellular truck down to help give better service. But that is something I think we have to look forward to. We hear the same concerns and not complaints, but concerns mostly. One for public safety. Our sheriff's department has a hard time getting a signal. Brighton Township PD, who patrols the park as well, because it's in their jurisdiction. But it's something I think we have to look into. Director Brewer, 911 EMS director, that's something he mentioned as well. Is about we got to figure out how to get something better in the valley there. So it's not the first time we've heard this. So it's definitely something we need to look into. Yeah,
for us, Regis says after the fact, he goes, "Oh, there's Wi-Fi down there," because we broadcast. When we go back and forth, it's over internet now. And he's like, "Oh, I could have gave you the password." I'm like, "Oh, now you tell us." But now we know for next time.
Yeah, they were watching the U.S. Open there somehow. Or the Masters,
that's what they were watching. Yeah.
And when we go down there, we usually take pictures and put it on Facebook. But when we go to Brady's Run, we have to wait till we get on top of the hill before the pictures will download. And so we usually go up by where the police department and the township building is, pull off the side of the road and hit and make sure that it works. And because you can't do it down at the bottom.
We've been working very closely with AT&T, and there's several different towers that they're putting up. There's a booster that's supposed to go up. Actually, we were hoping to get it up before the Maple Syrup Festival, but they've had some delays. But they're putting these little mini towers in a bunch of different locations. We're working with Eric Brewer and her EMS folks, and as well as Kevin Tussick and our IT people there. So that booster will be in, I believe, September. They're talking about. They put one on Blackhawk School. There's one that's going down in Independence near Fire Department. Different dead zones that we know we have with the cellular connectivity. And also Verizon is wiring up a house up on the hill at Brady's Run. And they have asked, and we have said for sure, bring Fios cable down into the park. So there's a potential that we may be able to wire with Fios cable the Four Seasons Lodge and the Brady's Run Lodge, and maybe even expand our Wi-Fi capability at the Ice Arena as well. So those are all things that are in the works that we're looking at. So, but they know. I think T-Mobile also had a truck there too. There were two different trucks trying to boost signals.
We even got it near Jack's house. I want you to know.
That's what he said.
For years, he wasn't connected, and now he's connected.
I can actually watch TV without it buffering.
It doesn't happen yours anymore.
Watch a live sporting event and be 3 innings behind by the time.
Don't make fun of rabbit ears. I grew up with rabbit ears. With aluminum foil on extenders.
Remember the old rotors on the antennas?
Oh, yeah.
And if you didn't have a rotor, you had to run out and my dad would make us take turns spinning the antenna for him.
You needed to get the guy.
So
another question we wanted to ask, it's on everyone's minds, the storms we had a couple nights ago, and what's the damage situation in Beaver County?
There's still a lot of people, thousands of people not hooked up. what I'm concerned about is all the people that lost their meat in their freezers and their food in their refrigerators. I mean, even people in my family have lost. So that's how I know that it's happening, and it's happened. Some people have been without power, 24 hours now? Mm-hmm. The biggest number I kept seeing was 19 hours, but it has to be longer now. So
I know in Center Township, I was saying where my mother-in-law lives, she got hers back late yesterday afternoon. It seems like that area of the county, Beaver,
the lower
Center,
end of Center into Hopewell, there's a lot of damage along Broadhead Road.
Yeah, Dan can talk about the courthouse. He was up all night with Kevin Tussey trying to get the courthouse back up. Seriously, it was a tremendous effort by our IT department to do that. But the jail had significant issues all day long. They didn't get power back till about 7:30 last night. So we had new warden, the assistant warden was there. They were working literally in the dark almost all day while Duquesne Light got that back. But last we saw there were at least 11,000 residents in Beaver County that had no power still. So.
Yeah, obviously, as Commissioner Manning said, our courthouse lost power, so our servers went down, but we were able to get that. Our IT department IT and Public Works, can't thank them enough to be able to get the courthouse operating yesterday. But as for the county as a whole, you don't want to say we don't have much damage because everyone was affected differently, right? Somebody might have had a tree on their house, someone might have had one across their driveway. I will tell you, on my way here today, I probably saw 40 trucks at the mall parking lot that are going out to work today. They didn't look like local trucks. It looks like they brought some extra efforts in to help our county, as Allegheny was hit just as bad. Our 911 department director Brewer mentioned yesterday at our work session that they fielded between 500 and 700 calls between 5 and 6 p.m. Some of those calls were for Allegheny County. Their systems were down, so they're one of their backups where we could redirect if there's an emergency or if we're able to forward them to someone else. So as a whole, we're fortunate that there wasn't anything major that happened, but we do understand that everyone's situation was different, and across all Beaver County, mostly in the Center, Alquippa, Hopewell area where the straight line winds hit, there was a lot of damage, but it looks like just mostly trees and power lines that were down. And
no loss of life, because obviously you heard a couple of people with being electrocuted and stuff elsewhere. So we're fortunate that way.
Right, and we're fortunate here in Beaver County with the way things are going with Eric Brewer and cutting edge for our 911 center.
State of the art.
State of the art compared to some of the other areas. So we're fortunate we have that and are able to help out and take calls in Allegheny County like that. I did see 150 were just fire-related calls that went off on that yesterday.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of hard. I usually watch the work sessions as soon as I get off the air, and it's kind of hard to understand them, but I can understand you guys, but like you're into the back room, it's like, But
we weren't hit very hard in Chippewa, but I heard a lot of sirens going back and forth through Beaver Falls.
Darlington, I think they said took a good hit. Yeah. So, but we're on our way back. Unfortunately, another line of storms is moving through. Supposed to be severe this afternoon as well.
Yeah, not happy about that.
So, all right, we're visiting with the Beaver County Commissioners. It is Ask the Commissioners. Commissioner Dan Camp, Commissioner Tony Amadio, Commissioner Jack Manning, all in studio this morning, along with Scott and myself. And we're going to take a short break. You are welcome to call with any questions or comments you have at 724-843-1888, and we'll be back with more right after this.
Strap, they call him the strapper. Scrap, scrap, scrap.
Hey, this is Donnie Iris, the original rapper. But you gotta check out the original Scrapper at Scrappy Joe's.
Thanks, Donnie. This is Joe the Chili, a.k.a. Scrappy Joe. And I want to invite you to take a scenic ride to historic Oil City, Pennsylvania to visit Scrappy Joe's and the Consignment Family Network. We are one of the largest co-ops in northwestern Pennsylvania. We have over 70 consignment vendor booths on display with over 1 million products to choose from, like antiques, collectibles, arts and crafts, and much more. Stop by and say hello to my partner Sue Downing and I. That's Scrappy Joe's at 4149 Route 257, Oil City, Pennsylvania. Everybody goes to Scrappy Joe's. See us on Facebook and Google.
Have you ever found something interesting that makes you go, oh? Then tune in every other Tuesday from 5 to 5:30 p.m. on Beaver County Radio for the Oh Show with Orlana Dawkins Jewelry. Orlana relates her views about informing, inspiring, and entertaining headlines that makes the world go round in interviews with local influencers that make you go, oh. The episode will be on Beaver County Radio Facebook and YouTube pages, so make sure to join the Oh Show with Orlana Dawkins Jewelry every other Tuesday from 5 to 5:30 right here on 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP.
Hey, it's Charlie and Debbie, along with NASCAR legend Kyle Petty, inviting you to join us for Kyle Petty's Back Then Again Country Countdown.
Each week, we'll put it in reverse and take a trip down memory lane, looking back at that week's top 20 country songs from years past.
We'll dive into what made those songs and artists move the needle, what pop culture trends made those years unique.
And you'll get to hear me tell stories only I can tell.
So don't miss Kyle Petty's Back Then Again Country Countdown right here each week.
Saturdays at noon, brought to you by Falcone's Moon Township Ford, the Latham team at EXD Realty, Canoes Body Works, and Beaver County Radio.
If you own a company or a small business, you might have considered advertising on radio. It's smart because radio is still the most far-reaching media outlet today. WBVP and WMBA can get you results. Get more information at beavercountyradio.com.
Pirates fans, the San Diego Padres are in town on Saturday, May 3rd for a free t-shirt night. The first 20,000 fans take home a Pirates-themed 80s t-shirt. Head to PNC Park to watch your Buccos take on the Padres at 4:05 p.m. and enjoy a fun evening at the best ballpark in America. Get your tickets and see all the 2025 giveaways at pirates.com/promotions.
It is Ask the Commissioners here on Beaver County Radio. It is 9:20. Noah Haswell coming up at the bottom of the hour. He'll have news for us as well. And let's jump right out to the phone lines. Tony, throw your headset on if you would there, please, so you can, so people can, you can hear the person that is calling. Good morning. You're on Ask the Commissioners. You plugged in?
No, not yet.
Okay. Go ahead. You're on.
Hi. How you doing? The county commissioners.
Yep. Go ahead. They're listening to you.
Hi, this is Rich from Alden, New Brighton. I just wanted to let you know that there was a VBP wrote up an item about the Hunky Alley Playground being locked down for feces and stuff. That's a lie. New Brighton is locking down all their baseball fields, publicly owned baseball fields. I've been doing a report on this for over a week and a half. Not getting nothing done about this. They posted a report the other day. They were supposed to take the locks off the field on Wednesday. New Brighton Borough, they didn't, but they put that little posting up about the feces. So every New Brighton baseball field, publicly owned, is locked and chained. Would you like to? Why are they locked and chained?
Well, that's strictly a municipal issue. Right. Obviously, the county has those aren't county fields, so I really don't have an answer for you, Dan or Tony. I'm not sure what we can do about that. I don't even know how many fields are available outside the high school.
There's 5 fields locked up.
Yeah.
Public fields.
Okay. Well, we'll have Curtis keep looking into it.
Yep.
Guess don't have nothing else. All right.
I don't know what this.
I mean, that was something that was posted by New Brighton Borough. That's where Curtis got the report, and that's where we went on with it. So, all right. So let's talk a little bit about this. I assume that we're in the finishing stages of it because we had a field trip here yesterday. I saw the MBI property here on where we're at, the county, and leasing some space off of St. Barnabas. Where are you guys at with that?
Yeah, so the agreement's been signed between the county and St. Barnabas. We're in the stage of organizing how we want to utilize the space. So I know yesterday afternoon we had some folks here. The controller, Maria Longo, was here. Nate Morgan from our solicitor's office. Dan Colville and Mark Kramer from DPW. Colin Sisk was here from the Board of Elections because of the voting machines will be housed here after the primary is over. They'll be stored here instead of in their DPW facility on 51. So now we're looking at all the stuff we had, how we're going to disperse the space and proceed with it. St. Barnabas has done a nice job. We have a garage door now, separate entry IT is working on setting up security and cameras for it. So things are moving along.
What's the advantage of moving to that location, this location?
Yeah, it's a huge advantage in that the mines moves every box. You make a call, they go find the box, retrieve the box, bill us for retrieving the box, and do it. And the stuff is kind of scattered. Our understanding is all over the mines. There's no rhyme or reason for where stuff is. This will allow for easier access, straight access by all of those department heads without an intermediary to go through that process, and they'll have freedom to come and go and store boxes and do what we
just
need
like
to do.
Just like the old days. In the old days, we leased a portion of the mines. If we needed to go in, we'd go in, secure what we needed to secure, and bring it back out. The only thing we had to do is notify them that we were going to come up. Now, each and every time you put in or take out, we pay. So it just made the cost, economically infeasible for us anymore.
So what, not obviously you can't put an exact amount on it, but a ballpark figure. What is the amount that'll save the county each year doing that?
I don't think we've reached that figure yet, but it's going to be substantial.
Okay.
In terms of time and efficiency, our understanding, and I just found this out yesterday from Maria Longo when she was in that meeting, is the mines only have like 2 people doing this job. So Dan Colville says if you call on Thursday, you might have stuff available by Monday. And there's a time savings and efficiency savings that you really can't calculate, where people will be able to drive over here and look for the box themselves.
Just run up the hill.
And have it orderly, and also just the disposal of stuff that no longer has to be stored.
Yeah, so. As commissioners both said, it's hard to calculate that initial savings. Obviously this is going to be a long-term savings that we're looking at. But just off the get-go, I'm comfortable saying just with the mines contract eventually terminating and moving everything to here, easily $150,000 to $170,000. But it's also a broader picture, because now we're going to be moving our election equipment up here. It's about 4,000 square foot. That now opens space up down the Public Works building. Now we don't have to invest money in building an exterior garage for Dan Colville and his staff, because that's where it's stored at. So it's a magnitude of things that we are going to be able to save money on, and also time and people. Again, now a department head can drive up here with their secure thing, go in and get the box that they need and leave, rather than before we'd have to wait a week or 2 to get some stuff. So, it's a project that we've been looking at for many years. Obviously, the board has done their due diligence on many different properties, many different options. Commissioner Manning was able to secure some communication between St. Barnabas and the county, and it took a couple months and a couple hurdles, but we were able to overcome that. And, we look forward to moving everything here as soon as possible, because they're actually starting to store stuff in our office now, because there's no room in the courthouse anymore.
The courthouse.
I'm not going to say which office it is. She'll know.
Right.
But they're starting to bring stuff over into our offices now, because we have a little bit extra space. So, it's something we're looking forward to, and our department heads are as well.
We look forward to having you as literally next door neighbors now.
Yeah. So what's going to be the process of taking things out of the mines? I'm sure that's going to take a long period of time, because everything that's in there.
Well, we briefly discussed that yesterday with a further group, and there'll be meetings with each. There's 22 accounts at the mines under the county's contract. So there's 22 different departments and entities that have stuff at the mines. We're going to go department by department, each of those folks, and move what isn't in the mines here first. Get organized in such a way that we know what it is, have the boxes dated, when stuff expires. If it doesn't expire, a lot of stuff with the courts have to be saved like in perpetuity, right? Can't really get rid of it. And then we'll start to organize retrieving stuff from the mines once we get set up and organized here, which each of those spots at each of those 22 accounts. Some stuff will happen quicker than others. The detectives are one of those that have a spot. We think there's a prime spot there where the detectives could have a secured spot within the secured storage area for different things that they may have that you don't want other departments to have access to as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you'll start seeing stuff come more quickly than not, because our goal is to not take anything to the mines. Right. And that's what's happening at the courthouse now. So we'll probably work on Obviously there's going to be a lot of communication and discussion with Public Works, as they'll probably be the ones help facilitating the move. But we'll probably work on getting the stuff out of the courthouse first, get that moved over, because we do have some time left on that contract that is at the mines, and then we'll work with the mines on getting that out. Because at the end of the day, both Controller Longo and Corey Troutman from Susquehanna Accounting and Consulting both told us it's going to cost us some money just to pull the stuff out. Even though we're terminating the contract, there are fees for that. One of the goals is to see what we could destroy there and they could shred while it's there rather than pulling it out, because there's different costs for that. It's a little cheaper, but we have to find out what's there. There's some offices that have stuff from forever ago. And by law, they have to. So, it's going to be about a year and a half that we're going to start moving stuff in. Probably every week you'll see us here.
And more departments are digitizing stuff now that can be digitized and meet the standards that the government has for retention of documents, rather than have all those boxes full of paper. So there's a lot more digitization going on, so that we don't have to take stuff to the mines or even here in the future.
Yeah, we have documents there from the 1800s when the Army first started.
Wow. Okay. So the other half of this equation was somewhere for the EAS to be stored for that unit and all that. Is that going to still be down Brady's Run, like expanding off of the current hazmat building, or
the expansion of the hazmat building?
Of the hazmat building,
yeah. Sorry. Okay. So we have recently been working with Widmer Engineering, who does a lot of our engineering work, to try and get some preliminary plans to put an additional pool building up, almost like an extension of what is down there.
Okay.
Expand it.
Expand it, a couple thousand square feet, to be able to give more room to get some of that equipment that's sitting outside to move it in. We're in the early stages of that. We have to get these drawings done, get some ideas of cost, but, it is something we're still continuing to look into, because we understand the importance on keeping up with our equipment and maintaining it.
Absolutely.
Another question I had, driving north when I go to like Big Beaver, the Turnpike project, the new interchange that's being built there. Any indication from the state when the time frame is will open, and what benefits will you see of having that new interchange?
Quite a few. My understanding is that's to be completed at the end of 26. So it's still a ways from completion. I know that there are multiple entities that are interested in the property, the old Conleys and different stuff that's there, that are interested in putting some businesses right at that. I mean, as you travel around, Scott and I've traveled around on downtown Consolidation, you get off a Turnpike. Every time you get off a Turnpike, there's a Speedway, there's a Sheetz, there's a Get-Go, there's something like that. There are multiple entities that are interested in the same kind of thing in that area. We also think it'll help open up the corridor in Big Beaver Borough. We have a tremendous asset in Pit Race right there, Ramada Inn. We think that'll be significant improvement and more traffic and more businesses along that area to open up that corridor, really from Wallace Run Road, from the Giant Eagle on through into Koppel and down to Pit Race.
It's good to hear.
You mentioned Conley. 55 years ago, that was a beautiful place.
Yeah.
54 years ago when I first got married, we spent our first night there on our way to our honeymoon.
So I saw his face brighten up when you said Conley.
Oh yeah, great memories. Let me tell you.
All right, the phone lines are open 724-843-1888. If you have any questions for the commissioners, we're going to take a short break followed by news with Noah Haswell, and then we'll be back with more right after this. Maybe.
Everything's bigger in Texas, including the racing action.
Now one car in the wall is Christopher Bell, hits it hard. Everybody else scrambles to avoid. Now another collision. Turn number 2, it is Josh Berry. He gets sideways, slides up against the outside wall. McDowell loses it, big time. The field coming right at him. McDowell tries to hold on to the race car. Everybody scrambles to get out of the way.
It's the Worth 400 from Texas Motor Speedway, Sunday, May 4th at 2:30.
Your home for everything in Beaver County. 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP, coming to you live from the all-new Frag Transportation Studios.
Patriot Home Care is now hiring caregivers. Are you a caring and compassionate individual looking for a reliable income with benefits? Then call Patriot Home Care today. Benefits include health insurance, life insurance, paid vacation after 1 year, and 1.5 times hourly pay for overtime plus holiday hours. Patriot Home Care employees provide personal care, conversation and companionship, medication reminders, light housekeeping and laundry, meal preparation, and errands. Start your career in home care today and call Patriot Home Care at 724-506-8911 or apply online at patriothomecare.org.
The Vault Recording on Neville Island is the state-of-the-art recording studio with an award-winning team. The Vault's 3 studios include a multi-room full production studio centered around a legendary vintage Neve console. The Vault also offers the region's first and only commercially available Dolby Atmos certified mix room and a post-production studio run by B6 Music and Post focused on ads, TV, film, and voiceover work, plus music production. The Vault works with artists and projects of all types, from singer-songwriters to full bands and large ensembles across all genres. For info, visit thevaultrecording.com.
Beaver County Radio's news source. 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and beavercountyradio.com. Here's Noah Haswell.
Good morning on this Thursday, May 1st of 2025. We will have a complete Beaver County radio weather forecast after we take this look at news. The storms on Tuesday in western Pennsylvania are still causing power outages, and Duquesne Light Company has given an estimation of when they will be fixed. According to a report from Duquesne Light Company, just after 10 p.m. Wednesday, over 151,000 of their customers lost power. Duquesne Light Company is bringing in more crews to work on the outages, and officials confirm that fixing them may take a period of about 5 to 7 days. A Pittsburgh Pirates fan was transported to the hospital after falling from the stands at PNC Park onto the field Wednesday during the Pirates' game against the Chicago Cubs. This occurred near the Roberto Clemente wall in right field. A statement from the Pirates confirms that an unidentified man experienced the fall from the bleachers during the 7th inning, and he went to Allegheny General Hospital. According to a report from officials, he is in critical condition. Beaver County Radio's Curtis Walsh reports that a ball field in New Brighton is closed due to health concerns. The borough of New Brighton released a statement saying the Hunky Alley baseball field along Bank Street is temporarily closed due to the presence of excessive animal feces creating unsanitary conditions. They say the closure will ensure the health and safety of sports organizations using the field this spring. The Beaver County Humane Society is looking for people to adopt animals at their shelter because their kennel space is completely full. According to a news release from their shelter manager, Kaylin Rankin, 41 dogs are being cared for, while 27 can be adopted and 44 are on their owner surrender wait list. Fosters are also needed for pets along with those who want to adopt a pet. You can also visit beavercountyhumanesociety.org for more information. The Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission believes a lawsuit filed in March about protecting rights for LGBTQ students is wrong, and they are asking a judge to get rid of it. Southside Area School District is one of the plaintiffs of the lawsuit, who believes the commission made an extension of defining sex. The plaintiffs also believe that sex defines the gender of someone at birth only, and the Constitution of Pennsylvania was violated by the commission. According to a release from PennDOT Secretary Mike Carroll and officials from AAA and the Harrisburg International Airport held an event Tuesday in Harrisburg for Real ID preparation. The deadline to get a Real ID in Pennsylvania is on May 7th, and PennDOT centers across the state are holding Real ID days the first 2 Mondays in May. The remaining times and locations for these Real ID days can be found on our website at beavercountyradio.com. A prosecutor says an officer killed while responding to a Pennsylvania hospital siege last winter was struck by a shotgun blast fired by police that also hit an armed man holding hostages. The attacker and West York patrolman Andrew W. Duarte were killed February 22nd in the gunfire in York, while several other people were hurt. York County District Attorney Tim Barker announced the findings of his investigation at a news conference Wednesday. He called the officers heroes for rushing in at great risk to save hostages. He said the attack at UPMC Memorial Hospital occurred after the 49-year-old gunman learned the woman he lived with had died after treatment there.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
Another rainy day in store for us with a chance of thunderstorms, and some of those storms could be severe in the late afternoon through the evening. We'll see a high near 81. Showers and thunderstorms tonight will drop down to a low around 61. Cloudy and breezy again tomorrow with showers and thunderstorms. Look for a high near 76 and a low around 56. And more rain and thunderstorms expected on Saturday. We'll see highs near 64 and lows around 49. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
That's a look at the news for now. I'm Noah Haswell on 99.3 FM, AM 1230 WBVP, 95.7 FM, and 1460 AM WMBA. Also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
And now, Patriot Home Care is proud to present the Beaver County Radio Morning Show with Frank Sparks and Scott Tady. Frank and Scott will get you caught up on what's going on in the world with news, sports, and entertainment, along with playing some of your favorite tunes, including Pittsburgh area bands. And now, here are the hosts of the show, Frank Sparks and Scott Tady.
Thanks for listening to the Beaver Morning Show. Scott Tady, Frank Sparks. It's Ask the County Commissioners, all three in the house, taking phone calls. And Frank, we've got a few.
Yeah, let's jump right out to the phone line. Good morning. You're on Beaver County Radio.
Good morning. Two quick questions, and then I'll get off and just listen for the commissioners. What is the status of Westinghouse's possibly locating a plant at the former J&L Works in Aliquippa? And what is the status of, I believe it's Chinese-owned steel plant supposedly coming to Aliquippa? Thank you.
We don't have any official oversight or insight into either one of those projects. I can tell you that with the 72 Steel, we were there for the opening of that. I have not had an update on either Chuck Beather's investment in that or from the 72 Steel folks themselves. Personally, I'm skeptical that that one comes to fruition, to be honest with everybody. I mean, if Nippon Steel can't invest in U.S. Steel and get approval from the government, it's hard for me to believe that Chinese national background people are going to build one in Aliquippa. But that's just my opinion. The Westinghouse thing, we've never officially been notified of anything specific about Westinghouse and what's taking place there. So at least I haven't.
No.
Dan, Tony?
No, we haven't.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if we had any information, probably at this point we couldn't say anyway.
Yeah. True. All right. Next up, yesterday at the work session, you guys were talking about, well, actually, Dan Koval was talking about some of the roofs and stuff, not you, talking about some of the roofs and stuff on some of the facilities in Beaver County possibly needing replaced. Is that something that's going to have to be addressed here rather soon?
Well, always.
Right, I got you.
I mean, there's continual upgrade and maintenance we have to do. I know that the DPW Works building itself has not had a lot of investment in it. It's probably one of the few facilities in which we haven't done any significant upgrades and stuff. And according to Dan Colville, the roof needs to be replaced. Right, Dan?
Yeah, Director Colville mentioned to us several times about the building down at the Public Works. It's something, as he said, they're probably going to do in-house. We're able to do that in-house. So, I think we're going to be moving forward with that rather quickly. He also talked about the ice arena needing new gutters and downspouts. He just sent us over a quote for something for that as well. But obviously, it's going to be a long-term project. The different magistrate buildings, I know he mentioned that need to be replaced. Several years ago, we got prices on traditional shingles plus steel roofing, metal roofing that's becoming very popular in the area. So there's a big price differential, but it's something we're going to have to put out for bid. Look to see which ones need done, whether it's 2 each year or all done at once. But he'll be working with Corey Troutman on getting a plan in place. He does put a certain number in the budget for capital improvements. So I don't think this is something he was looking for this year, but he's putting it on our radar for hopefully whenever he comes to do the budget in September of this year for 2026, that's something we're going to probably likely see done.
Yeah, that's stuff we have to prioritize every year, what we think we can do, what we schedule to do, and then when things come up that are unanticipated.
Yeah, something that costs $50,000 today is going to cost $150,000 5 years from now.
Right.
So it's better for us to address it now.
Well, I like the fact, too, with Dan Koval, it seems like he tries to do as much in-house as he possibly can to save the county money. Like I was listening to the conversation yesterday about the gutters, and that they're actually going to have the gutters made, but then they're going to hang the gutters themselves to save money, which that's great. We have somebody like that, like save the county some money.
He calls himself the Grim Reaper.
The bearer of bad news at all times. Huh? So, all right, we got another phone call. Good morning. You're on Ask the Commissioners.
Hey, it's Tank Latham. How you guys doing?
Good, Tank. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, quick question. Down at Brady's Run Park, the environmental facility, what's the progress on that?
You mean the tree, the reforest program?
No, there was a long time ago. There was a billboard down there, almost like an environmental center.
Okay.
Yeah, we had applied for some state grants to complete that. The cost escalation on that exceeded our budget coming out of ARPA and some of the funds we have there. We're now just re-examining how much of a facility can be made. We did get a $1 million grant from Shell to support the building of that facility. And we're now looking at, and plus we had some other work we had to do with clean the sediment pods and some other floodplain stuff, and then some other permitting things that we had to do there. So right now we're looking at maybe a scaled back version of something like that that could go in that spot. We know we have to replace the playground equipment that's there. That's coming to an end of life use. And we're also, Tony Calatorre is looking into a bike park underneath the overpass of 376. So we're trying to look at that bike park, skateboard park, the playground, and that environmental discovery center, and how it all fits into the future, especially with Reforest Our Future and their new facility there. So how do we complement that and make all that stuff work?
Yeah, what was supposed to be between $3 and $4 million came in at $8.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
So that's
it more than doubled in cost. So it's still on the books, but I think we can do a scaled back version that'll fit the needs there, but also complement everything else that we're doing at the park.
Yeah, I definitely think that would be something great for the community also, obviously.
I agree.
All right, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
All right. Take care.
It's that time of year again. I'm starting to see campaign signs in people's yards. So I wanted to ask about mail-in ballots. When are they going to go out for the primary?
They're out.
They are? Okay.
Yeah, we've gotten a couple of thousand back already. I think it was
9,
like 9,400 or so ballots approximately that were mailed out. Got a couple thousand, 2,500 maybe.
Is there a deadline, or what other details do people need to know about that?
Day of. You mean for the application, or I'm not sure. I think a week before, but it has to be in the office the day off.
Mm-hmm. And they're also, I know Garen mentioned this at our work session. In-house voting at the courthouse can start. Does that start Friday?
Yeah.
I believe Friday, so people can come in and they can bring those ballots in if they did that and turn them back in then, as well as vote in person, pre-election vote in person. So that will all start, obviously, and then primary coming up on the 20th.
Okay. Now, Dan, I know you talk about this a lot when it's election season, especially last election season when it was the presidential election. How has Beaver County, it seems like you guys have the process streamlined compared to others, and we see the results so much quicker with the mail-in ballots here in Beaver County than you do elsewhere.
Yeah, I like to think so. I like to think we set the tone high across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Director Sisk at the elections office does wonderful with his staff. We have a slew of great volunteers during the day to be able to open ballots. We start right when the polls open. If you haven't voted by mail, it's a process. There's a security envelope. There's an exterior envelope. once you open both of those, you have to flatten them out, then be able to process those through the scanner. So, we take great pride in that. This year we only have, I think, a little over 9,000. We already have a third back, so we're expecting a high return because those individuals who want to vote by mail are starting to do that on a regular basis. But, we plan to have 23 individuals opening these ballots on the day of elections. We're to the point now where we know who can open them faster and who can't. So, Director Sisk likes to...
So Tony has to stay out.
Director Sisk likes to say who he wants to come down because it's important that we do get through that because, we've all been on that side of the table. You're anxious to see how those results come through. You don't want to wait a day or two to be able to see and let the election change. And it's important also for transparency to the voters. Hey, your ballot is secured at the courthouse for X amount of days. We're going to open those, count them, so you have your vote counted the same days if you went to the pool and voted.
That was the big change from a couple of years ago. But the other thing is, strategically, we can release those as soon as the polls close. So all the ballots that we're counting during the day are usually tabulated before then the polling polls close and they come in there. So Colin has been releasing data earlier rather than at the end of doing everything, which made it delayed significantly.
Yeah, and a big thank you again, like as Dan alluded to Colin Sisk and his people in his office. But more importantly, or as important, are our employees that volunteer their time during their workday, and afterwards they get paid if they work, after hours. But they're so efficient. I mean, you walk down the hall and you could just see them. They're like machines. How their hands are moving, their brains are working, but it's just an incredible process to watch. And I'm very, very proud to be part of that. I'm sure as Dan and Jack are also.
Many times we've seen, obviously there's been a group in there that's tried to call out the integrity of the elections in Beaver County. And I always say I think they're very secure in what we're doing in the job that the county is doing, the county officials are doing at this point. Are there any changes that as we go along that I know there's a process you have to follow, but it seems like for you guys, I don't know where you found it at, but like they're used to, when you look at other counties, you see the day of the election, it looks like a lot of times, because really Democrats are the ones that vote more in, mail-in ballots than Republicans, it seems like, when you look at the numbers. And so you would look and the race looks like this one person's winning, and then all of a sudden the mail-in ballots are counted and that person lost. The next person's winning. So is there a way that it's streamlined here that we do it?
I think that's one of the things as they mentioned before, what we call them is drops. You'll see we have 126 precincts across Beaver County. Obviously, the ones that are in Beaver are going to get tabulated first on a normal voting from the machine, from the polling places, because they're closer to the courthouse. New Sewickley, they come in later. The workers bring the equipment back later. But I think one of the important things that what Colin has tried to do, Director Sisk has tried to do, is that first drop when the polls close at 8 p.m. is those mail-in ballots. So there's not a change. It looks like as if ballots were being counted after the fact, to say. So obviously that's harder to do for the presidential election and the governor's election because there's thousands of more votes. But, I don't see there's going to be any problem on May 20th that we're not going to count all 9,000 or less of those ballots, depending on how many are returned, and that be that first drop that Director Sisk wants to put out there to the voters of Beaver County. So you'll see that first drop. It'll say mail-in ballots. They'll be calculated, and then we'll start calculating the stuff from the polling places.
So just two things to point out there is one, the turnout for this is probably going to be half what we have
absolutely
at the right, maybe 35% versus 70-some% or higher. But the second thing is that gap between Republicans and Democrats has certainly during presidential election has decreased. There are a lot more Republicans were using them as well the last time. I don't know how that will work out.
So what's the percentage we settled on canvassing? Because I know that was a question, having to go back and look at a couple of the ballots and a percentage.
4%.
Okay. All right, that was the final. All right, we got a caller. Good morning, you're on Ask the Commissioners.
Hello, how's everyone?
Good, how are you?
Doing well.
We got a semi-bad connection. Hey, do we have all three commissioners there today?
Yes, sir.
Holy cow, put that down, ink that, jot that. That's a shocker. Interesting. Okay, now listen, my question is, You rebuilt the courthouse, 10 years ago, somewhere in the vicinity?
20 plus years.
25.
Well, the courthouse is
Why
built.
didn't you make enough room to store all these documents rather than going to the outside for an extra expense?
Dan was you're right. You were in third grade when all that went down. So.
Yeah, I don't know. That predates me. I don't know many courthouses.
It even predates me, and I've been here a long time.
I don't know. Yeah, because that was 2001 or something, right? The courthouse
2000.
was
Now, to be fair, you guys did look at
2001.
off-site places to see closer to the courthouse, and it was too expensive.
I don't know many courthouses that have built storage facilities into their facilities. Most of them are older buildings, or even the new ones are built. They're more functional oriented than storage oriented.
Plus, we had a couple courthouse fires before.
Why don't we update and modernize everything and just put it on a disc?
Well, we are.
Some of it. Yeah. Some of it has to remain in its original form.
Depends.
Okay, can you guys do me a favor and put some pressure on PennDOT to fix some of these potholes in roads?
That's Tony's. That's Tony's job.
I'm going to tell you guys.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you guys something. We've got a road called Park Road that goes in the back of Brady's Run. It comes down from Chippewa. Shenango and Park Road is a disastrous mess. I have called those people and asked them to Band-Aid it 5,000 or 6,000 times, and I just keep getting a run around. I might as well go to Home Depot and raise some funds, get a couple bags of asphalt. This is terrible.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I just rode it yesterday on the way home from the radio station and went that back way, Park Road, and turned on to Shenango. And it's really horrible in that first part of Shenango coming off of Park. But I will tell you, we have absolutely no to little influence on PennDOT and their priorities for fixing the roads. It's we hear it all the time, but it's just not something.
I don't think they take our calls.
Actually, I think we've probably ticked them off more than they've ticked us off.
They might as well eliminate that person that answers the phone, because she just gives it to a new supervisor, and it's even worse than the last supervisor. I never see anybody out, and these holes they went down to Shenango and Park, and they must have took 2 5-gallon buckets and filled in 2, and they don't even tamp it down with a tamper.
Yeah. I know most of their priorities are around road collapses. Yeah. I mean, we've got Wildwood Road in Brighton Township that's been closed now, and there's still no idea when Wildwood will be back open. That's a major thoroughfare from Dutch Ridge out to 51.
Tell me about it.
And then we have Acretown Road, up to the ball fields has been closed for 5 years now, 6 years.
I cut my grass, and I got to pay road tax for cutting my grass, and for the fuel that I use in that don't make sense either.
All right. All right, Rick. Well,
you liked that one, didn't you? Hey, listen, thanks.
All right, buddy. You're welcome. All right. Yeah, I don't think I've ever been through Brady's Run Park as many times as I have in my lifetime since Wildwood closed. Now that we're up here.
I've been going that way.
Right, that's how I go every day. Yeah. So
instead of 376.
All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you guys coming in today. And we'll see you again, I guess, next month for Ask the Commissioners here on Beaver County Radio.
All right. See you all at Beaver County History Weekend.
Yes, absolutely.
I'll be out there Saturday and Sunday.
25 plus museums in Beaver County will be open, and they're all celebrating the 225th anniversary of Beaver County.
You got it.
You don't have those problems because you use the commissioner's helicopter.
Bagel combo meal.